Hey guys, welcome back. Now, with the recent explosions in price going on all over the place, things are really starting to get exciting in the crypto market. You know the bull market is back when you aren't able to get a good night's sleep. However, what if I told you that all of this is still just the warm-up to the main event? And if history repeats, and so far it is, then this year is just a recovery year. And it's next year where we get the crazy eye-popping bull market rallies. And so in this video, as always, we'll be covering the latest price action and see what is going on. Then we'll see where are we in this 4-year cycle and a warning about a major correction that could be coming our way. And then we'll finish with the biggest developments from all around the world in just the past couple of weeks. Okay, first up, with all these crazy price explosions going on and Bitcoin trying to break through this 100k sell wall, let's see what is going on. So here we are jumping in with the Bitcoin chart, the Bitcoin monthly, and what do we see? Well, first up, clearly Bitcoin has smashed through the previous all-time high and is leading the pack, with the next stop being this 100k major milestone and major sell wall. Now, whether this happens by the time this video is published, whether it's next week or December, I think it's going to ultimately smash through before the end of the year, and then probably get a nice little pullback. Now, the question is, when is Ethereum and the altcoins going to follow suit? Well, we saw that typically after the halving, it was month number 7 being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where it ultimately breaks through. So what happens with Ethereum? Well, it looks like Ethereum could just be 1 month behind. As if we look, it's still got quite a way to go before it gets back to its previous all-time high. So if we look at the last cycle and count 7 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can see it was pretty much exactly, well, at least very similar to the last cycle. By month 7, there was still quite a way to go before it got back to its previous all-time high. And it was the following month, so for us that would be December, but last cycle it was January, where there was a stellar run taking it right back to the previous all-time high. So this indicates that December could be a massive month for Ethereum, where we see an epic run right back to its previous all-time high. The only niggling doubt I have is that this was January, which historically is a very good month for Ethereum, where December is not so great. So I think it's either going to be December or latest January, where Ethereum catches up and finally breaks through. And then the narrative for altcoin season is quickly going to change, because Bitcoin is going to be so high by then, maybe 120k, that everything else looks cheap. And this is why we see again and again rotations back into altcoins, because there's some nice easy gains to be made as they get back to the all-time high. Solana looking very, very strong. It has now just got back to its all-time high, but things like Coinbase still well below, Avalanche still well below, Optimism still well below, as well as many others. And this is why we continue to get the big rotation back into altcoins. So, summary, Bitcoin is leading the pack. It could remain so for December, and for me, January is going to be very, very exciting. Now, when it comes to seasonality, what do we see? Well, the key things that I'm looking at is the previous halving years and election years, and we can see what happened. So that being 2020 and 2016. So starting with Bitcoin, and when we get to the end of the year, Similar to what's happening now, look at that, a 40% jump. Well, if we go to 2020, it's nothing out of the ordinary, 43%. So this has pretty much happened before. And then December, another even better month, almost 47%. So this would suggest a very strong December, which is why I think it's going to be smashing through this 100k mark. And then cross-reference with 2016, we have 5% for November, so not as good, but still 30% in December. So Bitcoin looking very, very strong, which is why I think it remains king for the remainder of the year. And when we look at Ethereum, king of the altcoins, interestingly, in November, it's up 32%, even though it feels like Ethereum is struggling. It's added almost a third of its market cap in just 1 month. And still it feels like Ethereum is struggling. Only in crypto, right? And this is better than the entire year of the S&P 500. Now, looking back, we don't have as much data, so we can take a look at 2020, but it was a 60% gain November here, and then a further 20%. So it was still strong to the year, and then following was an absolute blowout, which is why I think Q1 is going to be huge. Now, jumping into the 4-year cycle, and after this crazy run where Bitcoin's seeing maybe its biggest monthly gain yet, where are we in the 4-year cycle? Well, interestingly, it's now pretty much exactly where the previous cycles have been. They've all decided to meet up once again. I remember it happening here before we had this breakdown, and then since then everybody's got back together, and this is the final meeting point before everybody goes their separate ways. Time will tell. But isn't it interesting that following the crash, there's all completely different paths as they all swing overvalued, undervalued, major pandemics, and still we have the halving, and 7 months on, everybody is back to the same place. You've got to find this market incredibly interesting. Now, I don't think we're going to keep pace with this last cycle, as this was an epic money printing following COVID. But there is one thing that now is jumping out to me on this chart, and that is this major sell-off that seems to happen at exactly the same point in the 2 previous cycles. So this definitely is going to be something that we need to keep an eye on, as it's a bit weird as it happened at pretty much the exact same time. I did go back and check, and these were 30% corrections both times. But interestingly, 2 cycles ago, this was a massive rotation into Ethereum. So Ethereum actually skyrocketed 200% as there was a massive rotation. But this time, both Bitcoin and Ethereum had nice 30% crashes. So we're probably going to get another run into December, and it's going to be around the beginning of January, end of December, where there might be a massive correction. And this will probably shake out the last of the non-believers in January before we get this crazy alt season. So interestingly, every time we come back and take a look at this chart, which we do again and again and again, there's always something new going on, which again is pretty cool. So December, I'm expecting big things from Bitcoin, and then end of December, beginning of January, I'd say watch out. And to finish, the biggest developments from all around the world, and we're starting with China. Very cool bit of news. A Shanghai judge has ruled that cryptocurrency is a commodity and it's legal to own. So although businesses at the minute can't get into crypto the same, people of China can actually own crypto. So this in itself is huge. We saw that Coinbase has launched an index fund and they've called it C50. So it's the top 50 broken up. So this is a great way for institutions to get exposure to the crypto market in a more blended way using an index fund. 50% Bitcoin, 30% Ethereum, and then we have Solana, XRP, Dogecoin, and everything else. So index funds is a great thing to see. And this coming from Coinbase. Then we just had company after company after company joining Michael Saylor to put Bitcoin on the corporate balance sheet, as clearly this is a winning strategy. So there's actually so many companies now doing this. It's hard to cover all of them, but this was just a few. As well as, I mean, this is a state in the US also wanting to allocate 10% of its reserves into Bitcoin. So this is a massive trend, and clearly it's been started by Michael Saylor, who in itself just keeps raising more money to buy more Bitcoin, raising more money to buy more Bitcoin. There was a number of these in the past couple of weeks, so much so that Michael Saylor had to visit the doctor, as he had a bit of a problem. As did you see what has happened to MicroStrategy? And if this isn't the banana zone, then I don't know what is. In fact, it's gone up 400% since the most recent breakout, which is cray-cray. And then we have the signs that the bull market is coming back, as the Coinbase app is now shooting back up the charts and it's now in the top 10 again. Signal 1 and Signal 2, this is the Google searches for Bitcoin, where most recently it had been dying out, and now since Bitcoin reclaimed its all-time high and is now chasing 100k, retail and the media is now coming back and starting to pay attention. The bull market of 2025 is about to begin. With the recent explosions in price happening across the board, things are really starting to get exciting. Bitcoin continues to lead the pack, smashing through its previous all-time high, next stop 100k, and I do think Bitcoin remains king until the end of the year. I do think alt season officially begins in January, and I also think there could be a major sell-off around that time, probably shaking out the last of the non-believers. And as you can see, the developments from all around the world just keep coming in thick and fast. Well, with a tech that's growing faster than the internet and mobile phones, what do we expect? So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. As you can see, we're on track for the biggest bull market yet when measured in dollars, and soon we'll have to talk about selling. Now, if you've got any questions or comments, then post them below. However, just remember, to get rid of 100% of the comment spam and trading bots that plague YouTube comments, we are trying out the new SuperThanks Commenting system. So to get your question or comment read and replied to, or just to say thanks, then use SuperThanks below. And for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.